Good morning and welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspiration. Glad you could join me here today as always. Today we will continue with the book I have written, The Power is Within. We are on location 708 in the ebook. Before we begin, hit that like button and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. We have a video coming out every day that I know will be of value to you. So here we go. We were talking about the messages that are sent to you by God, intuition, higher power, higher self, whatever you choose to believe in, but it comes to you from somewhere other than your conscious mind. The question is, do we listen to these messages or do we logicalize them away? I'm not sure if that's a word, but I'm using it. I'm sure you know what it means. So here we go. These messages are being sent out all the time. Simple thoughts are inclinations that make us pause and go, that'd be interesting. But we are so caught up in day-to-day turmoil of our lives, the advertisements all around us, obligations to ourselves and our families, fears, worries, stresses, that our next thought is almost always, but I couldn't possibly do that. You know what you're supposed to be doing in life. And if you don't have a fulfilling life, you're probably not doing it. But you say, Mark, I have to pay the bills. I can't leave this job. I can't start my own business. I can't do this. I can't do that. Henry Ford once said, if you think you can, you're correct. And if you think you can't, you're correct. Think about that. Birds circumnavigate the globe, returning to the same resting places year after year. Sea turtles do the same thing through the oceans. Lost dogs on vacations travel thousands of miles and find their way back home. How do you think they do that? They have no smartphone, no GPS, no modern technology of any kind. They have something much more powerful, an inner guidance system called intuition. Don't you think that we, the most intelligent and only known creatures with the ability of acute reasoning, have one too? Of course we do. The question is, are you listening to it or are you ignoring it? When I go to bed each night, I have an idea of when I want to wake up the next morning. When I wake up the next morning, I look at the clock and it says the time I decided on. I don't use an alarm. I don't need to. I just program the belief into my inner self, and I do this too. And the universe produces the results. When I lived in Central America, the girls at the grocery store knew the prices of thousands of items. They didn't have barcodes like we do in the US. No price tags stickered on. They just remembered them because they had to. Did they work out some rational means by which to memorize all these numbers? Some system of recall, a trick, or a poem to recite? No. They simply believed they could and did. For them, necessity was the means of removing the fear and doubt of a difficult task. Once that was removed, they simply did it. I knew many people from abroad during my time in South America, and they were universally amazed at these and other feats of the relatively less advanced culture there. When understood, it isn't really amazing. It's simply something that those haven't yet lost. Like the bird or the turtle or the dog, they still use their intuitive processes. Those of us that have grown up around modern technology have forgotten them. We exercise our bodies to stay in shape and look good, or we practice some skill that we need in our jobs. We align our efforts with the old adage, if you don't use it, you will lose it. Yet we neglect the most important part of our being, our powerhouse, our mind. What are you using your mind for today? The same repetition of the thing you did yesterday? What new information are you putting into your mind? Your mind is like a muscle. If you don't exercise it by reading or by listening to something educational, whatever you like to listen to, and if you only use it for entertainment, it will not grow. It will not support you, or it will not serve you the way it is possible for it to serve you. And I know there are many things you desire in life. It's all within you. But unless you exercise that muscle of your mind, you may and probably will not ever attain it. Do you know why people get old? There's no physical, biological reason. No biological time bomb ticking down that goes off when you turn 50, after which everything starts falling apart. We come into the world and are soon taught that we are going to get old and die. Everything around us confirms it. Thousands of years of programming has established, maintained, and cultivated this lie, and so we believe it. And because we believe it, it happens. We trick ourselves into believing that we have to have health insurance and life insurance. And yet these things didn't exist for thousands of years. How do we manage to get by? Somehow. Once you turn 60, every other conversation with your circle of friends turns into droning on about aches and pains and medications and specialists. I don't have those conversations. My boys complain about aches and pains the same way as older people do. But when we get older, we forget that we had aches and pains when we were younger. It's not that you're getting old, it's just life. That's part of life. Even when I say that, part of me wants to say, no, Mark, when you get old, you have more aches and pains. The proof is in the pudding. My kids complain more than I do. They have more aches and pains than I do. When I was young, they were called growing pains. Now people say they're old age pains. What's the difference? The mindset, the perception. Whatever you want to perceive or believe, that is what you will achieve. In this aspect, something you really don't want to achieve. Let me see, something happened here. I jumped too far. I lost my spot. Okay. I went 2 pages. Give me a second. Here you go. Because belief creates reality, and those around you and those that you surround yourself with affect your beliefs. I chose to surround myself with people that you might refer to as being much younger than myself. I don't see it that way. Young people don't talk about aches and pains in the same manner as older people. They don't complain about growing old. They don't even think about those things because they are so busy just living their lives. Young people haven't been subjected to as many years of the lies society tells, so they haven't been as effectively programmed to believe in their eventual loss of health and death. Neither do I. I don't have any more aches and pains now than I did when I was 20. In fact, I am in much better shape now. Is that what you want? Of course you say. Who wouldn't want to be healthy and vital? But if I didn't have all these aches and pains, I wouldn't be thinking about them. I can't just pretend they're not there. Get busy living your life, that's what I say. And ignore the aches and pains. I do it every day. No one's asking you to pretend anything. I'm asking you to believe. You think that reality happens and then you believe in whatever that reality is. But that's exactly backwards. You believe what you want reality to be, and then it becomes that belief. If you want those aches and pains to go away, believe they will. Start talking, thinking, and acting like a healthy person. Schedule that hike you would have taken 20 years ago. Better yet, don't schedule it, just go do it right now. Put this book down and do the first thing that comes to mind that you don't think you can do because you're too old. I bet you'll surprise yourself. We have the ability to surprise ourselves and to reach far beyond what we think we're capable of. Most of us, and probably including myself, live far below our potential. Even the people you see doing great things are greater than what they're doing. They have much more potential than what they're reaching. I don't think I've ever ran a race or did a boxing match or anything in sports where I didn't think when it was over, I had more. I had more that I could have given. And I did. We always have more than we think we have. We with our minds underestimate ourselves, and thus we do not fulfill our potential because we talk to ourselves much worse than we would talk to our best friend. What would we tell our best friend if he was having hard times or if he was feeling down? We would encourage him, tell him to get up, he can make it, he can do it. You would tell him how you believe in him. But yet when we get down and when we make mistakes, how do we talk to ourselves? Do we tell ourselves that we're no good? Do we tell ourselves that we're never going to amount to anything? Do we repeat those things that we heard when we were children from our parents, from our teachers, from our figures of authority? Do those still echo within your mind? If they do, you need to replace them with good affirmations. Now, these affirmations won't take root overnight. Just like a seed planted in the ground, it takes time, and you have to water them with repetition and emotion, day after day after day. And eventually these will take root and crowd out the weeds of negativity, those words that you heard when you were younger. Sometimes I think we spend half of our lives trying to repair the damage that was done to us, most of it good intentioned, when we were younger. Our parents tell us things many times just to keep us safe, to keep us from hurting ourselves. They don't want us to stretch out because they're afraid we will fail and be discouraged. And no parent wants to see his child unhappy. Most parents, I know I do, I just want to see my kids happy. That's why when I see them doing things that I think may be dangerous or that may discourage them, I try to stop them when they were younger. Now I let them go and do what they want to do. But at the time, I tried to help them. Well, we just need to let them stretch out there and get hurt. That's what we have to entrust, that they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. That's all I have time for today. We will continue this later on. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow.